Okay, in our last lectures we have seen how powerful our React.js components are and how we can build a layout to display our blog posts here like that. Now we would want to fill those blog posts with different articles basically. For this we would need to understand the data layer of our Gatsby.js projects. So basically Gatsby is using the so-called GraphQL, which is a query language like SQL, but it's developed by Facebook and it's much easier in my opinion than the SQL. Okay, now let me just show you how we can create our first GraphQL query. So first what you would want to do is to go to gatsby-config.js here, and in the module exports we would want to provide our site metadata. So let's just type site metadata, and we would want to provide it as an object, and here we can create variables basically. So let's create a title for our website, and as we know it's called Gatsby Bootstrap, Gatsby-bootstrap. And this is basically it. Here you can provide different types of info like keywords or description of your website, etc, etc. We're going to discuss that later on in the lectures. However, now to make things simpler, we would just type our title here. Now whenever you add variables to your site metadata, or you make changes to your Gatsby-browser.js file or the gatsby-config.js file, you would want to rerun your Gatsby develop. So now let's just stop our project by pressing Ctrl and C, and now you would want to type Gatsby develop again, and let's just wait for this to compile. Okay, so now we have recompiled our project here. And as you know, whenever you compile your project, you're going to get this link where your server is running right now. So we have our local host 8000 here. And below it, we have our GraphQL in browser IDE, which is basically like a playground where we can test our queries and see what results we are going to get. So it's basically our server /3_GraphQL, but let's just copy this and paste it in our browser here. And this is our GraphQL playground. Here we first have a little welcome message and some info about our GraphQL playground. We also have the shortcuts that we can use here. So I suggest you read that carefully. But first let's just delete everything and let me show you how you can create your first query. So one helpful thing that I want you to know is that whenever you press Ctrl and space, you're going to get suggestions on what you can use here. So first we would want to use our query here, and then you do not provide columns like that, you just provide your curly brackets, and inside there we would want to provide site, as we are going to get information from our site here. And in our site we would want to get our site metadata, so let's type it, and as you can see we have a suggestion here. However, this is not enough, we would need to specify which fields we would want to get. So we would want to provide curly brackets like that, and we would want to get the title like here. Okay, so let's run this. And as you can see, we got the data like an object which is of data site, and then we have our site metadata, and then we have our title. Basically, how the query is, that's how we get our data, the query and the data here. Okay, now you have created your first GraphQL query. In the next lectures we're going to dive deeper, so see you in the next ones.